President Biden's Build Back Better framework could head to a vote as early as tomorrow. The Democrats continue to hammer out details on the $1.75 trillion spending bill over the weekend. As our D.C. correspondent Bofta Yimam explains, how quickly they come to an agreement impacts the timing, of course, of this infrastructure bill. It was back and forth. The president went overseas, and nothing got done, it seemed, Bofta. So where do we stand?
Right, it has been a battlefield really these past few months, as you mentioned, between moderates and progressives. And now progressives want to have in writing the promised elements. And here's the key thing, Sharon, the timeline. They want to know, okay, well, when will some of these things put into play? They also want some elements like lowering prescription drugs and paid family leave, two really huge priorities, back in the bill. The so-called human infrastructure package would help Americans with paying for, of course, health care and education, along with raising children and caring for elderly people in their homes. It would also include tax breaks, encouraging cleaner energy and electrified vehicles. President Biden expects all senators to back the bill, but the Senate holdouts, Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, have not said that they support the framework. They've simply been optimistic. Some Democrats continue to lobby them for additional elements in the bill.
I believe we will pass my Build Back Better plan, and I believe we will pass the infrastructure bill. Combined, they have $900 billion in climate resistance and dealing with climate and resilience, and it's the largest investment in the history of the world that's ever occurred, and it's going to pass.
I think there has got to be a framework agreed upon in the Senate that all of us know is going to be implemented before the members of the House vote. You're going to have a piece of paper which will say this is going to be in the bill. You don't have to have all of the legislative language, but you have to have a statement which says A, B, C, D, and E is going to be in the package, and 50 members of the Senate are supporting it.
Biden has also said that several $billions to help strengthen the supply chain is part of his Build Back Better framework. Sharon.
All right, well, he's got his work cut out for him. We'll see what happens, Bofta. Speaking of supply chains, President Biden gathered with other global leaders yesterday to address this challenge, the supply chain challenges. So talk a bit about what came out of that.
Well, here's what we know. The reality is most people, Sharon, don't think about supply chains until they can't get what they need online or at the store, be it a present for someone or toilet paper. Those are all things that have been challenges for folks these past several weeks. And the president stressed that in his message, along with the impact of the pandemic on the supply chain breakdown. President Biden, along with other global leaders, as you mentioned, they agreed to foster greater international cooperation on near-term supply chain disruptions. And on the domestic front, the president also announced a few initiatives, including promoting international supply chain resilience among U.S. partners and allies. So what that means, something like additional funding from Mexico and Central America to ease supply chain disruptions and bottlenecks. So looking at this more globally than just on the domestic front, as many folks do rely on overseas goods, right, to get here on time.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Stock up if you can. If not, we'll have to wait on these world leaders, Bofta, to solve this thing. Bofta Yimam live in Washington for us.